Hey there, and thank you so much for watching. The topic of this video is 10 things I would do if I got rich overnight, got a windfall, or some other event that led to instant financial independence. So I think the concept of getting rich overnight or a windfall is really interesting to consider because while the actual chances of that happening are very, very slim, the same principles of being good with money apply only on a much larger scale. And to me, it's always interesting to think about applying those principles only globally, huge on a gigantic scale. So this topic was actually inspired by two separate events. And the first one happened in 2015. My mom got a registered letter sent to the house with her name and she had to sign for it. And it was from an insurance company, and it turns out that they were looking for someone that had her name with her exact first, middle, and last name, and she was intrigued. So she called this guy and they were talking back and forth, and it turned out that someone had passed away and was looking to disperse a large inheritance, and she had no idea who this person was, but it was a really interesting phone call that she had with the gentleman, and it was in the amount of, I think, $500,000. And I remember that because the five stuck out to me. I'm like, wow, this could be really exciting. Spoiler alert, it was not her long lost relative, so she didn't end up getting that money. Sad. It was kind of like a tease, but at the same time, it was really interesting to think about that concept of a windfall or getting rich overnight because that literally could have been her story. The second idea of getting rich overnight or getting money overnight or a windfall is I have friends who either through sales of a company or sales of a significant asset have actually come into significant amounts of money overnight. So while the process of building that asset did not happen overnight, it was a many year, in some cases a decade long process of building up an asset that was actually worth that amount of money, the actual money came into their lives relatively quickly. And believe it or not, if they hadn't had good money management principles or hadn't been good at managing money, this could have been significantly detrimental. You also hear stories about this all the time. People win the lottery and it doesn't turn out well for them because they end up not using good money management principles and end up even worse than when they started. So the purpose of this video and this exercise was to consider what it would be like if I came into a significant amount of money, a windfall, or quote, got rich overnight. As always, my focus is financial independence. And for me, the first thing I'd think about if I heard of a windfall or if I came into money instantly would be that I am instantly financially independent. However, it is possible to go from financial independence to being dependent again if you don't manage your money properly. So that's why for me it's really important to reinforce those principles of good money management, being good with money, in order to make sure that I have the proper framework in place to manage money when it comes, no matter how much, whether it's a small amount or a giant amount. And I just love thinking about the idea of having a giant amount of money to manage. So let me get into it. Here are the 10 things that I would do if I came into a significant amount of money overnight. Number 1. I would take some time to breathe. I would stash that money in a safe place, find a good place to keep it, probably a low interest, very accessible savings account, which right now everything is low interest. But I would just find somewhere to park that money and give myself a chance to process. Because for me, I never want to rush any big decisions. And if there was a large amount of money involved, you just want to let it sit and take time to breathe. Give yourself maybe say 3 months to kind of let the dust settle and sort it out and adjust to your new way of life, or keeping in place the same principles that ideally, if you are already practicing good money management principles, those same principles that you're using currently. So I would just, number 1, find a safe place to park that money. Number 2 is I would hire a good attorney and I would hire a good tax person. As you know, from my experience with Dave Ramsey's ELP program, I will pop the video up there. I did not have a good experience with his ELP program, so I am still currently in the market for a good CPA or tax professional. So if you know anyone, let me know. Good tax professionals are like gold. So I would be on the lookout for a good tax professional and a good lawyer, and I would want to take my time hiring and working with those people to make sure that I really had a good solid team with me to embark on this new phase of life. So that would be number 2. Number 3, I would pay my taxes. I would figure out what I owed and really try to find the best way to pay the least amount of taxes, but make sure that I have that covered off the top. So many people get into trouble in avoiding paying their taxes, and I wouldn't want that to be my story. I wouldn't want to lose money because I didn't pay my taxes. So I would handle that right off the bat once I had a good team behind me. Item number 4, if you're familiar at all with my story, it is very important to me to manage my money in accordance with my principles and the convictions that mean the most to me. So my item number 4 is that I would tithe off the top 10%. All right, now that we got the boring but very, very important stuff out of the way, here's the fun stuff I would do with the rest of the money. Item number 5, I would pay off debt for all of my family members, immediate family members. And this would be super exciting. I think this would be the most rewarding thing that I would do with that money, because I know that debt has been a problem for several of my immediate family members. And while they're working to get out of that cycle of debt, I think it would be such a gift and a blessing to be able to get them out of debt a whole lot faster. So that would be item number 5. Item number 6 is that I would pay off houses for both of my immediate family members as well. I think that would be super exciting to give us the freedom to live in paid off houses and possibly to go somewhere else. But for the purpose of managing money well, I would just stay where I am. Like, I would pay off the house that I'm living in now, even though I don't love the house. I would pay it off, and I would probably do some repairs. I would definitely do some repairs, but I would pay it off because I think that keeping that same living arrangement would be important in order to transition to a better one in a very smart and considered approach. That would be the most important thing to me, is being very wise and considerate in the way that I would transition away from living in this place. Because if I was worth a significant amount of money, I wouldn't be living here no more, but I wouldn't want that to be jarring or disruptive in any way. So number 6 would be to pay off all current residences. Item number 7 would be to invest, and to be honest, that's probably what I would do with a biggest chunk of the money, is just invest it. Kind of boring, but also really reassuring to know that your money would be at work for you instead of you working for the money. That's really exciting to think about, for sure. Item number 8 would be to do something fun. For me, this would probably be traveling. It would definitely be traveling. I think once I got all the boring stuff out of the way, and let's say from the actual point of getting that check in your account or coming into that money legally, like signed and delivered, that's yours, to the point where I could actually do something fun, I would say that would be at least a year, because nothing here is happening quickly. Although the money may have come in overnight, you got rich overnight, your net worth jumps up $1 million, your spending power, at least for me, would stay where it is. So I'm looking at like a year from the point of getting the actual money to the point of being able to do something fun. And for me, that would be part of the fun as well, but you know, I gotta adjust that thinking in that it wouldn't be overnight fun. You might get rich overnight, but the fun would be a long time coming. Though the end result being it would last a lot longer in the process. That's why it's so important to enjoy the process and to realize that this is the destination. The destination of having strong, good money management principles, of being good with money, is the destination in itself. Because for me, it gives me a sense of calm and knowledge that you're doing the right thing, not that you're having fun immediately or you're having that immediate gratification. So again, that do something fun is number 8 in the list of the 10 things that I would do if I got rich overnight. Number 9 would be to work on adjusting my financial set point. I am not someone who comes from money. I am not someone who grew up with money. I didn't grow up feeling like money was my birthright, although I do believe that now. It would take a lot for me to adjust to having that much money, and if I wanted to keep it, I think that it should take a lot to adjust. So that would be my number 9 item, is to work on adjusting my mindset to keep this money and to help it grow, and to help as many people with that money as possible. So adjusting mindset is not just something that happens when you're poor trying to become rich. It's also something that happens when you've got some money behind you and you're looking to become even more financially independent or financially free, and to pass that on to someone else. So I believe that financial independence is something that you develop, and something that you develop before you even have it to get you there, and that continues to develop. So this would be something that I not only would want to work on for myself, but to pass on to other people. And item number 10 would be to surround myself with people who are solid, grounded, generous, fun-loving, independent, and also financially savvy in order to build that community. This is something that I try to do anyway, and I think it would be that much more important once you do have some significant resources behind you. I've spoken before about how I make friends and how I come to find people that are supportive in this journey to financial independence. And this is something that I 100% believe in, that you are the average of the people that you spend the most time with. And in this case, I would want to spend time with people who are also good with their money and making money grow and making a difference in the world. That would be super important to me, and I would be really excited to do that with other people and to spread the love and the knowledge of financial management principles. Be surrounded by groups of people who are grounded, frugal, and abundant. People who are grounded, frugal, and abundant, because that is so important. So there you go. That is my list of 10 things I would do if I were to come into a windfall, get rich overnight along my financial independence journey. I really like thinking about this idea, even though, again, the chances are 0 to none that this would happen. It's a wonderful thing to be thinking about. Good management is good management no matter what your current resources are. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has inspired you to think about things that you would do if you came into a windfall. Leave any questions or comments you have down below, and as always, thank you so much for watching.